So if you guys want to have a good laugh, you guys should really check out this guy, Jake Hillhouse. I'm sure a bunch of you guys already know who he is. It seems like he's gotten quite a bit of views over the years, but looking at his YouTube channel, it's only got like 75K subs, and most of his videos don't get very many views. But there is a few of them that have gone viral, obviously getting like 500,000. But I just randomly found him while scrolling Instagram, and I was watching these mime videos he does where he gets like the one's just brutal. He literally gets a scooter kicked right into his shins and also into his foot too. Like, oh, he just does basically ridiculous shit for pain, but he's dressed in mime clothes and makeup, so he's not supposed to react, so he just doesn't react. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's a saint. It's crazy. Now, a lot of you guys are probably thinking too, well, didn't Steve-O do that in Jackass? And you're right. And I'm pretty sure, I haven't done much research into this, to be honest, but I'm pretty sure that that's where they got the inspiration from for that mime prank, was from this guy. So I don't know if they gave him anything for it or whatnot, but he I think he was the original one to do that. So, and he's done a bunch of them and they've gone viral, but it's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch, but I recommend watching it because it's really it's really fun just to watch how fucking painful he'll get, like shot by like tack guns, and just the scooter really kills me. Same with, because I think Steve-O, when he did it in Jackass, if I remember the movie, I can't remember if it was a mime or not, but he got a skateboard to fall like a guillotine right onto his shins. Fuck, was that hard to watch? Like, that's just really sensitive area. It hurts so fucking much. Welcome everybody back to Non-Rich Just Bored, episode number 110. We're into the 110s already. We're going. Let's go, boys. It's the worst. The 10s are the worst though, because there's never, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, but there's no like 10s. Like, what do you say, 10s? Like, I grew up in the 1920s. Like, I grew up in the 1910s. It's weird, right? It doesn't really have a ring to it. But either way, we're on episode 110. We're chugging along. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have switched over to YouTube completely. I'm kind of, I guess you could say, putting all my eggs in one basket. But I talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, but I'm just confirming because I've actually been able to stream a couple times. I've streamed, what the hell, the Helldivers 2. I streamed also the Swine's Bay DLC from Stronghold, which was pretty fun. I was excited for that one too because it was crazy that they released a DLC for a Stronghold game, and it's been how long now? It's been it's never happened before for like the classic ones. They never had DLC because back in the day, you just kind of, this might sound weird to some modern people, but back in the day, you just bought a game and you got the game, and that was your game. That's what you got. And you played the game, and that was the end of the game. And usually the game was pretty goddamn polished. There's always glitches and everything, but still, the game was a game. Now it's like you get a fucking early access game, and then half of it works, and you gotta wait for the week 1 patch for the other half to work, and it's just a fucking mess. But it's cool when they do re-releases of games like that, and then they add shit to it, because the reason they re-release those games is because people love them so much, and people always think it's people always want, they're like, is it like an HD remaster or a remake? But no, it's the Stronghold Definitive Edition is actually it's a remake because it's built from the ground up. So, and it looks beautiful. I love it. It's so good. They really did a good job with it. But unfortunately, I'm going on a tangent here about Stronghold, but that's the way it goes. Firefly Studios did their Q&A a little while back, and one of the most popular questions was, "Are you making a Crusader Definitive Edition?" Because that's what I'm waiting for. That is my favorite version. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Stronghold. The OG, it's awesome. The knights look the coolest in that version. But in as far as like fun multiplayer modes and memorable characters, the Crusader is the best. Plus, Crusader added in all the old guys anyway. The 4 tyrants. You know, the only character from the original that really wasn't a playable character was like the Lord Woolsack, and because he didn't really fight, so he wasn't really a fighter, and then he died. I'm pretty sure he got killed by the wolf, if I remember correctly. But there was nothing really to do there. So Crusader was just like everything you wanted and more. But again, some people like the aesthetic of the original Stronghold, and I get that because the castles looked a little bit cooler and the walls looked a little sturdier and cooler, but that was just kind of what Stronghold looked like. It was more of a castle, whereas Crusader was more of a, desert castles, Arabic sandstone, shit like that. It looked a little bit more sandy, right? So, but it makes sense because it's supposed to be accurate to the time period. So, I don't know. I'm really excited for that. They said that there's a good possibility that they're going to be working on it, but it is not on a docket for this year or in the coming future. It's not being discussed yet. So they really want to finish with this definitive edition, and I think they're working on on some sort of version of Stronghold 2, which I could care less about because personally I didn't think Stronghold 2 was very good, or Stronghold Legends. They were okay, but they just weren't. I don't know. There's something about them. They just didn't. When they went full 3D, it was weird. It just didn't feel like the same game compared to the classic Stronghold. The way the graphics were, it just worked and it felt nice. I don't know. There's a lot of people that agree with me, I'm sure, because Stronghold and Stronghold Crusader have a lot of really high rated reviews, and a lot of people are absolutely in love with them. Meanwhile, like Stronghold 2 and Stronghold Legends, they have a niche following, but very, like, nobody really talks about them. Not anymore anyway. But yeah, so I've been enjoying the streaming and doing all that stuff, and it's a lot easier on YouTube because I'm just already on YouTube. So when I stream on YouTube, I don't have to worry about downloading the VOD from Twitch and then re-uploading it to YouTube. It's just on YouTube, and when I put it in the archive on the channel, I can change the description. I could change the thumbnail if I want. I could change anything I need. So it's just a matter of, it's so much more convenient. So if you go to the channel, click on live, and then there'll be all the past live streams in there. But also on the home screen, I've also added, they still have on the home screen, there's the videos, of course, and then there's the podcast, and there's Just Board Gaming, all the gaming videos. Then there's the live stream archive, which is right below that. So they'll all show up in there, as well as the old Twitch ones that I did on here, which I think there was only 5. There's only 5 streams I did. So I'm already, streaming's way up, guys. I've already done 2 streams in the last couple weeks here, and before that, in like the last year, I've done 5. So we're doing better. It's anything you can do to make your life easier, kind of, it'll encourage you more to do it. Live streaming seems like it's easy, but you gotta have that energy, right? You gotta have the willingness to do it. So it's not, everybody thinks it's same with podcasting, honestly. And today is an example of a episode that might be a little bit more difficult because I don't really have much to talk about. There's not much that's been going on in the world lately. There's a few odd things that I want to get into, but honestly, it might be a shorter episode again because there's not much going on right now. And I've just been, living the Canadian dream of just working. So it's just one of those things where it's hard to, people think it's so easy to podcast, so easy to live stream, but it's like, you really gotta get into it, and you gotta do, you have to be in the right headspace. And that's part of the problem for me when it comes to this stuff, is just, I work so much, at my regular job, that it's hard to sometimes do this stuff. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I don't want to record the podcast because there's not much going on, and also exhausted. And it's the same with streaming. It's like, it's easy to just stream, but it's even easier to just, relax and play a game. So, and I've always been that kind of guy where I like to, gaming's always been my hobby. So when I'm gaming, I like to just relax and chill. But having said that, I do like streaming, but I know that when you're streaming, there's something that comes with it, and that's the personality, right? You gotta be engaging. You gotta do things. You gotta interact with chat. You gotta make sure you're aware of what's going on, and also because it's live, you want to play good, right? And well, play well, I guess. Play good is a bad English, but you want to play well, so that's just kind of how it is, and I totally get that. So what I try to do is just if I have the right mindset and I have time and I'm not as tired, I will go and jump into a live stream. I will go do any of that stuff. There's days where I've put off the podcast for a day because I'm like, I don't feel inspired today. And I don't feel like it never feels good. And I've talked about this ad nauseum on here, I'm sure, but it never feels good phoning in a podcast. When there's not much going on, you're beat to shit from work and you're just not feeling it. And that happens. That's not like I'm done with the podcast. It's just there's nothing going on at that time, and maybe you're just beat to shit. Because and this is what I kind of wanted to get into this week a little bit, was just I was talking with some coworkers and some other people that I know, friends, and about how life is really beating people down right now. And it's hard for people to get inspiration. And I totally relate to that. As a guy that's been on and off YouTube for over a decade, I totally get, almost 15 years actually, but I get where people come from. It's one of those things that it's hard to find inspiration because regular life is so hard right now that people are just, you only have so much mental bandwidth. So after working, after taking care of children, after everything in life, everything that you have to do, sometimes you're just over it. You're done. And you just want to relax, watch a TV show, and chill. Whereas, there's that whole saying, and I'll call it out once again, but people always say money doesn't buy happiness. And yeah, I guess so. You're right. But you know what it does? It affords you peace of mind. Okay, guys? And I've talked about this 100 times. I know that. For anybody who's a regular listener, I'm sorry, but it is true that having that peace of mind and not having to worry about bills or making it to your next, fucking car payment, that's a big deal. And I think a lot of people miss that. People are always like, they do the Iron Man thing. Any amount of money, never bought a second of time. And, money doesn't buy happiness. And it's just, yes, all valid points. But the point still remains that it's when you have that stuff taken care of for you, when you no longer have to worry about where you're going to eat and, how you're going to provide for your children, all that kind of stuff, it really does lift a mental weight off you. And, first, it used to be you would just race through the ranks and get a better job, but it's literally almost like you have to be a millionaire just to be comfortable these days. You have to get viral on TikTok. You have to get viral on Instagram. That's why everybody's trying so fucking hard these days to be influencers, because they feel like they need to have that lifestyle to be a millionaire to make it. And that's kind of how it is now. Your middle class and your lower class especially, but your middle class is getting bought out. They're getting priced out is more like it. It's getting too expensive to fucking live. It's at the point where if you don't make at least $20 an hour, you don't have a fucking chance. If you're making less than $20, I feel very sorry for you. And that's living in a modest place. That's not living downtown New York. Like people that live in like huge cities downtown where your rent is like $4,000 a month. I don't even know. I don't even know how you do that. To be honest, I it fucking blows my mind, and I don't know why people live there. But whatever. But still, regular people, your rent could still be $2,000, $3,000, depending on where you are. It's still ridiculous, and the cost of living is so high. And I talked to so many of my coworkers, and right now they've kind of opened up to me, some of them, and friends too, about how they're depressed. They're literally depressed at the way the world is right now, and they can't do anything. They feel like they can't have any fun because they feel like every day all they got to think about is bills. All they got to think about is, because once their bills are paid, once the mortgage is paid, if they have a mortgage at that, it might be just rent. Once that's done, once the car payment's over with, heating, electricity, phone bill, internet, that's it. You're done. You got nothing. You have pennies for some food. Eat some fucking Ichiban for 2 weeks. And I'm it kind of gave me relief in a way to know that I'm not alone. I'm like, maybe I'm just fucking shitty. Maybe I'm just the shittiest person with money, and I'm fucking shit in the bed. But no, it's not just me. And I make a fairly decent wage. And yeah, I have to pay child support to my ex. Of course, that's a factor. And that's not a fact. That's a consequence of my life that I have to deal with. And, that's not everybody has that. So that's fine. But I'm just saying that is a big thing that gouges me for sure. And any single dad understands that. So I'm with you guys. I get it. It sucks, but it's for your children, and you guys made that decision. So you got to live with it. That's what you got to do. As a father, you have to provide for your children. And, maybe they don't always use it on what you think they should, but it doesn't matter. That is your responsibility. So, I can't really fault anybody but myself for that. So, but having said that, I have a beautiful daughter, and I am very happy about that. But the point still remains where you have to pay that, and that's a huge part of it's a huge part of your paycheck. So, and it'll be for a long time, so you got to get used to it. But what I'm saying is, even people that don't have that, they're struggling. Everybody's struggling, and I really don't get it. The cost of living should not be this insane. And I want things to come down. I want everything to chill out. But, it's it's never been that way. Inflation, I don't think have prices ever gone down that you guys can think of in recent history? Have you ever experienced like price going backwards rather than up? I don't think that's ever happened in our lives. But it's so inflated right now that I just don't see a way back. And it's just there's no like good way to say it. I'm sad. I'm sad that I have to see that kind of shit around me. Like I'm sad that like I'm sad that everybody's just having so much problems right now, and we're just surviving. We're not living. We're not having fun. And I was telling them, like, I remember 10 years ago working at fucking Wally World. Like, I would work at Walmart. I'd work at Best Buy, like a fucking electronics store. Like, shit jobs, retail. And I had more money than I do now. And it just bugs me. That fucking bugs me. As far as, like, wages go and job, like, how good my job is, we'll say, based on income earned, it's way better than what it was. I'm making, at least $10 more than I was at that time. Probably $11, $12 more. But I'm not living. Because I was saying, like, I was reminiscing with them about how when it was just me and my brother living together with my girlfriend at the time, we would fucking load up 2 shopping carts at Walmart easily when we went on a shopping trip. Easily. And I'm not talking about stuff like, halfway, a little bit. No, these shopping carts were fucking stuffed to the brim, overflowing. That's why we had 2 carts, because it kept overflowing. We get 2 goddamn carts worth of groceries, and we just all go in on it together. And it was about $500. $500, and we're like, oh my god, it's so fucking expensive. But it was 2 overflowing shopping carts. Now I get fucking half a shopping cart, hardly half full. Like living on a prayer to get halfway full, and it's like $200 for fucking nothing. And again, that's all garbage. Like I said, like Ichiban, maybe some fucking diet pops. All very minimalist, just to survive food. You know, bologna, bread, shit like that. It's like $200. Like, what the fuck did we do? What happened to this fucking world? I'm seriously like, I don't understand it. And I've told you guys 100 times before, and I'll tell you 100 more. I am not a crazy motherfucker. I'm not. I mean, mentally, yes. But like spending wise, no. I have a modest van. I have a modest trailer. I don't even have a house. It's a fucking trailer. It's a shit trailer. And their estimated value of it is like 30 grand. Paid 90 for it. So that's sweet, you know? Like that's the estimated value. And then my fucking van was like $25,000. And then 30 with tax and extended warranty, like 32, 33. You know? I think I owe like 22 on it right now. You know? Like very modest shit. You know? People, if I was struggling, but I had like an $85,000 truck and a $500,000 mortgage, yeah, you could say you're the fool. You're the dumbass. But motherfucker, I'm living in squalor, you know? I mean, my van's nice, but it ain't that nice. This trailer's a home. I like it, love it, respect it. I'm glad I have a roof over my head. But it's certainly not the fucking, you know, it's not Kevin Costner's ranch on the Yellowstone. It's just basic. It's basic fucking living. It's one step up from an apartment. And I can barely fucking survive with a good job. Like, for fuck's sakes. And then they were talking about, there was some sort of a meme that somebody put together, and it was like, why is everybody so depressed these days? And the top comment was, because rent is 50% of our income. And it's absolutely fucking true. Like, I honestly, I've asked the question on here before, guys. I still don't really have an answer. I never understood how people, even when things were like going, or I don't want to say good, because the things haven't been going good in the economy since before like 2014, like since before the whole fucking Trudeau thing. Like things have not been going good for a while. It's been pretty fucking shit. So yeah, you know, thanks again, Eastern Canada, you fucking idiots. But you know, things have not been going well for a long time. But even back in the day when it was going good, I never understood how these guys, they would have again, $100,000 truck. They'd have a sled, a quad, a fucking farm to go to. They'd have horses, all kinds of shit. And they're, you know, they dress nice and look like they're doing good in life. Meanwhile, I'm fucking struggling, you know? And I think part of that, you know, part of the struggling for sure is that people are single now. You know, there's single incomes because there's a lot of fucking people who are broken up. And the people who are usually more successful are married couples that are, you know, in it together, dual income. So for sure that is a factor. But at the same time, things are just insanely, grossly expensive. You know, I even see people, I know people, some of the people I was talking to about this, they are married couples and they're still fucking struggling. Because it's just things are so fucking crazy right now. So yeah, I do think that part of that is the problem, though. Again, I'm willing. The thing about me is that I don't just blame people. I don't just go and blame some boogeyman, right? Which, for a lot of people think that's what Justin Trudeau is, right? He's the punching bag, right? Because he's the liberal, he's the leader, and things going to shit under his rule. So, I mean, yeah, rightful blame to him, of course. But having said that, I like to look at things dynamically. I like to look at them from every angle. Why are people unhappy and not being able to afford things? And part of it was because, like, in our parents' generation, again, they had better pricing, but they are also together, dual income. So they had that going for them. There's no child support. I mean, my parents got divorced obviously later on, so there was child support then, but still, the rate at which that happened was not as common. It was not as common. Most people stuck together, for better or for worse, right? People stuck together, but it is a big difference, because when you have a dependable second income, it really does help, and it really is a good thing. So again, I think that's part of it, but there's no denying that the price of the cost of living has just gone beyond insane. I even know a couple friends that are, they're even newlyweds, and they had, they bought their house, and they were all happy, and they had that car, they had the house, they had all that, and they're just starting a life, and they're, I'm happy for them. That's good, but now they can't fucking afford their payments. They have to remortgage shit. They have to sell a vehicle, and it's because things got fucking insane, right? Things got out of control with the prices, so they had to basically flip their life upside down. So, what I'm saying is, if you guys are in Canada and you're struggling, I mean, I'm with you, and I understand. This has kind of been like a little Depressisode. We'll call it, that'll be a new thing. We'll call it Depressisode, but it's just me talking. There's really nothing been going on this week, but I kind of wanted to get that off my mind when I'm thinking about life right now. And I think a lot of people are with me. We're just not feeling very inspired. We're not feeling very happy with life, because it is so hard. And I'm looking back very nostalgically at even like 2016, before things went real crazy. And just back when things were actually affordable, and just I can imagine if I had the job I had now back in 2010, like, I would be way ahead of the curve. Way ahead of the curve. But unfortunately, that's when I was working crappy retail jobs and I couldn't get ahead. So, but I don't know. There's this whole thing going on too with, there's apparently Loblaws. They own like all the stores in Canada, and they're doing a bunch of price gouging for people too. And there's this big controversy right now about them not marking down meat. They used to mark down their meat to 50% when it was on clearance, like expiring soon, right? So they would do that, but now they can't do lower than 30%. It has to be 30%, and it's just like people are fucking losing their minds, and rightfully so. I mean, if you got to go for meat's so fucking expensive, right? You got to go for those bins when they're on sale, because that's when you can kind of afford them. And if you cook it that night or the next night, it's fine. It's not expiring overnight. It's just, they got to get off the shelf because it's going to go in a couple of days. But 50% is a big cut, right? Turns a $40 steak into a $20 steak. Turns a, $20 ribs into $10. So it's substantial. Whereas 30%, yeah, it is, but it's not on that cusp of like, I need to pull the trigger on that sale right now. But either way, that's really all I had for you guys this week. I'm sorry if it was boring or not as interesting, but it was more of a, like I said, it was a Depressisode, but it was more of a Dear Diary kind of episode. because it was just me kind of talking about my feelings and what I think is going on, especially in Canada right now. Just there's so much depression and people not being happy, and again, it gave me it's this is kind of sad, and I don't mean anything good by it necessarily, but it was a relief to me, to hear that other people were struggling, that it's not just me, because there's a lot of days where I'm like, maybe I'm just overspending. But, deep in my mind, I know that's not true. I know it's not true because I used to overspend. I used to go crazy. That's what I was saying with those shopping carts. When we went crazy, we would get 2 stuffed shopping carts, and we would get games. Like, we would just buy games if we want to. Every new game we bought, we would just buy it when it came out. Everything. We were reckless. I'd buy sculptures and, toys and, like little action figures around the house, things for my console, my computer, anything I wanted. I just kind of just bought it. Because that's, you're a crazy 20-year-old. That's what you do. But now it's like, I don't buy anything. I buy the odd Steam game when it's on sale or if it's a really fucking good blockbuster. But even then, it's like it's like 1 per paycheck, if that. Other than that, I'm like looking for the 90% off deals on Steam to capitalize on that. So I don't know. I don't think I'm overspending. I think I live pretty modestly. So I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people will ever afford houses at this rate. Unless you have people living with you or renters, I don't see it happening. But I will end on this, guys. I am the eternal optimist. I just am. I just don't like thinking. There's so many people that always say, I don't want to have kids because I don't want to leave kids in this world. And I mean, obviously I've already got kids, but having said that, I am just eternally optimistic. I really don't think this is the end. I think things are going to get bigger and better when we just smarten up and realize that we don't need these people controlling us, and they're supposed to work for us, not work us to death. So, the future will be good. And if you want to have children, you can have children. Don't think their life is going to be shit. Just set them up. What I would say to future parents is don't set them up for failure. I feel like and this is not a knock on my parents or anybody else's parents. I'm not trying to start a fight. Not trying to start a generational war here. But I think what did happen incidentally with a lot of the boomer parents was that they, not that they didn't want their kids to have a better life than them, but they cared more about themselves than their kids, in a sense, And a lot of them, they want their kids to do good, but if they didn't do as good, they didn't care because they're like, well, at least, they're not doing better than me, it makes me feel better. But I'm saying for future generations, your kids should be better than you. My daughter is going to be better than me. She's going to be smarter than me. She's going to be faster than me. Probably stronger. I mean, she's a girl, so biologically, maybe not, but, mentally stronger for sure. Because it's the upgrade, right? You upgrade every generation. Every generation gets smarter and wiser. So you should be cheering on your kids. And I think that's why there's a lot of this problem with the whole kids wanting to transition, and I'm transgender, and I'm cis, and I'm I'm pansexual. It's just depression, right? It's kids not realizing their potential. But if you sit there and you tell your kids that they're awesome and that they're enough and they're worthy of respect, they will do well. And pay attention to them. Play with them. Hang out with them. Ask them what their interests are. Engage them. That's what you got to do as a parent. And I feel like our generation, our parents didn't do that enough with us. We didn't get, asked about our interests enough. If anything, usually your interests got shot down, like gaming. That I always used that one because I was really good at gaming as a kid, and I loved it. I did it a lot, from the Nintendo to the GameCube was the last one where I was still at home. But I guess the Xbox and the Xbox 360, I guess, was the last one I played at home. But still, I played a lot of those games and I was really good at them. And then what all my parents ever said is like, gaming will never be a thing for you. And ironically, it's one of the biggest fucking money makers in the world now, is being a professional gamer. So parents, you fucking shit the bed on me for that one. Sorry, but it's true. I mean, who would have seen that coming? That watching people play games was going to be a big part of the internet. I certainly didn't expect it, to be honest, but it is, and it still is to this day. So, what I'm saying is encourage your kids' creativity, encourage their hobbies, and they will be successful. I guarantee it. Guaranteed. That's my plan anyway. So, either way, guys, I'm just rambling on here at this point. So, thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it as always. Remember, links to all social media are in the description below. And hopefully you'll see a nice live stream this week sometime on YouTube. Bye, guys.